That is something that no matter what, like I thought that I wouldn't be able to keep wearing a hair system because I got the wrong type. I got the wrong base type. And with that came a lot of issues. I shaved my head, almost gave up hair systems for good, tried it a month later, 6 years later, here we are. Happy ending to the story, right? So with that being said, we'll kind of go over 3 different types of lifestyles and systems that would be good for you, as well as the tape or glue that might be a good fit for you, because that's also the important ingredient, right? It's not just the hair system you get, it is also the tape or glue that you use to accompany it. And there's a very, very big difference between somebody that doesn't really do any exercise, lives in a cool or cold climate, and somebody that actually is extremely active, sports-based, always doing adventures, versus it's very different for somebody that's style-focused, detail-oriented, somebody that wants the absolute perfect hairline, right? These are really different pathways that you can take. And I think the old creed of know thyself, know who you are, is really important, because if you know what you want, well, then you can actually get what you want. Sometimes it's hard to have everything, right? You can have anything, but you can't have everything. So if we know what your priorities are, we can actually really take a good stab at what would be appropriate for you. So that's what we're going to be doing tonight. And all of these tips that I'm giving you was actually co-created with LeVivid. So that way we could give you recommendations based off of your lifestyle. And there's actually a page. For this. And if you go on the main website, you can find it. It is the banner. It says best base perfect hold, which I will actually bring you into the computer right now. Just give me 1 second, so that way it's not super bumpy. 1 second, guys. So you can see right here, this website, if you actually click on the banner, it will take you directly into the sale and the promotion. For most of the live stream, we'll probably just I'll be guiding you through it. I might kind of pop back into the computer once in a while to just show you some things, but we'll be here for the most part. As always, guys, we do this twice a month. Before we get going, use it as a consultation. Use it as something where you can actually get help for whatever you need. So we're going to be talking about topics tonight. If you have another question, if you have an issue, if you want to talk about what system's perfect for you, put it in the comments. We'll actually answer all of those questions as we're going through it. I love to answer questions. Okay, so let's begin. So on the website, you will actually find 3 different types of lifestyles. So let's just take a quick look at this right here. So you can see that there's first office and appearance focused, active and sporty, and then you can see that there's sensitive skin. So these are the 3 categories that we're going to be covering in terms of hair systems and combinations. So let's start first, I suppose, with the low maintenance, the office workers, the basically appearance focused, but very, very chill style life. So if you want this, what you're really going for, just so you can self-identify, is somebody that doesn't do a lot of exercise, that, is quite social, goes to a lot of meetings, all of that kind of stuff. You're comfortable. You have a natural look. You're looking to save time. These are the types of things that you would be looking at. So what would those systems be? Well, the systems that you might want to look at are an upgrade Mirage, an upgrade Eros, a Helios, or a Mars. So let's talk about why you might choose each of those, the benefits, the pros and the cons, and all that kind of stuff. So the Upgrade Mirage is a all skin unit. So this is a really, really great unit for somebody that likes the ease of just having skin. With that skin, the Upgrade Mirage is very special. It's been upgraded, as the name implies, because it actually has a V-looped hairline and then single split knots throughout the rest of the base. What does that actually do? What does it mean for you? It means that you get really, really good hairline that looks natural, but you also get the longevity of the split knots as opposed to the V-loop. The V-loop is a little bit more delicate, but that's why it looks that. It's delicate because it looks so good. Or I should say it looks good because it's so delicate. That's the proper way to say that. So the Upgrade Mirage is really great. It comes in at about 95% density, which for reference, guys, this is 80% right here. So it would be a little bit heavier than this right here that I'm wearing right now. And the skin on it is 0.04 millimeters to 0.06 millimeters. So it's a pretty thin system. It's not our thinnest, which we'll talk about in a second. But it's a very, very nice system. A lot of people love it. It's one of our best sellers all time. So that's really good for you if you are an office worker or you want low maintenance because of the poly, right? But you're also going to have the great hairline, as we talked about. The next one that I mentioned is the Upgrade Eros. So why is the Upgrade Eros great for you? If you're in that category, right? You're the office worker, you go to a lot of meetings, you want it to look really good, but you want it to be low maintenance. The Upgrade Eros is the thinnest thin skin that's on the market at 0.02 millimeters thick. 0.02 millimeters thick. Think about a millimeter and then think about 0.02 of a millimeter. Basically, not even a wafer. It's like having a cloud on your head. I don't think that makes sense, but I tried. It's very, very, very thin. I've worn the Eros probably, like I've had about 20 of those units. It was my go-to for a long time. Why is it so great? One, it's really, really great because it's so thin, so you're going to get a great hairline. There's not going to be like any difference between your scalp and the system, right? It's hard to. It's basically nothing, right? It's like air on the top of your head. But on top of that, it has 90% density, which is really, really nice. So it's actually less than the Upgrade Mirage, which we talked about. And it's just the hairline. The hairline is really good. But keep in mind, it's all skin. It's all skin based, which makes it very, very easy to maintain. Very easy to maintain. And maybe LeVivid will pop up that Eros. Let me see. Actually, I'll do it right here. The Upgrade Eros is what we're talking about. So all of these, this is a 15% off right now, by the way. All of this, the 15% off until February 4th, and then the sale goes away. So if you do want to order one, I highly recommend you do it. And then you can also get a free silk mask, sleep mask, only during this live stream though. But you have to use the code for it, which is live gift, capital L, capital G, live gift. So the Eros is a really, really great unit for somebody that's office and appearance focused because it's so thin and it's so easy to manage with, just the poly. The next one, we're actually going to swing over to the other side of the fence, and that is the Helios. The Helios is an incredible system. It's one of my other go-tos. The Helios is actually Swiss lace. So now we're not even talking about any type of poly on the base. And this unit's really great because it's Swiss lace, and Swiss lace, in my opinion, has the best hairline. I'm wearing Swiss lace right now, and take a look, right? Like that's pretty dang good if you ask me. Right? You can actually even see back through, like if you look at that, like look at that right there. My opinion, really, really great units. I love the Helios, and it's basically it's the system I use the most. This Swiss lace from LeVivid, because and this is a big thing, it's breathable, which is great. So it's very comfortable, very low maintenance. The nice thing also with this is you're going to get that great hairline, and it's 90% density, so it's light. So I really recommend the Helios as well, which I'll put up here on the screen for you guys. And then the last one is the Mars. The Mars is actually what I'm wearing right now. It's basically the same thing as the Helios, except instead of 90% density, it's 80% density and graduated to 85%. So 80% here, and then it graduates back for a little bit more thickness, a little bit more fullness, a little bit more longevity of your hair system. All four of those systems I just mentioned are 15% off. If I could choose one for the person that we're talking about, which is the office worker, the person that is, wants low maintenance, but it to look really, really good, I would be split though between the Mirage, the Upgrade Mirage, and the Upgrade Eros, because they're poly, very, very easy to manage. Okay. But that begs the question before we go on to any of the other groups is what types of adhesives, what types of tapes should you be using? Well, I will tell you. But first, if you have questions, make sure you drop your questions in the comments wherever you're watching in from, so that way we can help you. Whether the LeVivid team or I assist you with those questions directly. We love this to be an engaging show. So, we love to have you here. Okay, so let's go back to it. For the office worker, for the person that's really looking for the appearance, there's a couple different tapes that we do recommend. So I will bring us down into the computer here for a second. So the first one, we'll talk about this Ghost Bond. Now, Ghost Bond is really, really great because it is extremely sensitive. It's a liquid adhesive, creates no shine, which is really, really nice. This Walker Ultra Hold adhesive, this is a liquid. This right here is probably one of the longest duration liquid adhesives that you're going to find out on the market. So that is definitely somebody, if you want to not have to deal with your hair system much, this is the one to go with. This No Shine, this is a tape. So unlike the last two, this is a tape. Now, the advantages to tape is that it's much easier to manage, to put on and off. But the disadvantage is it's a little bit, quote unquote, thicker than using a liquid adhesive. So if you want the absolute best hairline, I'd probably push you over into that. Okay. But the last thing we have is we actually have Ultra Hold CC contours. So if you do want the Walker Ultra Hold, you can get it in a tape like this right here. We have a different style tape as well, but these are really nice because they go great along the front CC contour. So at the hairline, these can be really, really great to just stick and go. You don't have to do any cutting. They're just super easy to manage. So as you can see, you've got some combinations to play with there. You get the whole kind of very low maintenance thing though when you use a more a stronger adhesive and a stronger glue. So that's why I'm kind of directing you towards that stuff. Okay. So, for those that are joining us right now, what we're doing is we're going through basically hair system and glue or tape combinations that are good for different types of people. On the website right now, we do have a sale for 15% off that ends February 4th. Then it's all about finding the best base and hold combination. So the best hair system and the best tape and glue. So that way you're covered, because it's really important to get that match. So it is 15% off. We went over the office and appearance focused person, going to social events, visible hairline styles, but also very simple. But now we're going to be moving into my category of people, which is, I self-identify like this, but active and sporty. So somebody that is constantly doing a lot of sweating, doing a lot of maybe outdoor work, maybe, you're into sports, you're an athlete, you're in the gym, all this kind of stuff. So this is really good for somebody that maybe is a construction worker, for an example, or somebody that is a roofer, right? They're outdoors, they're sweating, and they got all that stuff to deal with. It's also really good for somebody that's an athlete, right? Maybe you're in college. Maybe that you are, in your 30s, but you're playing a lot of pickleball or something like that. These are the systems that would be really, really good for you to go for. So are you guys ready? The four that we would recommend for this category of people are the LaVivid Tyler, the Light Cruis, the Aries, or the Simois. Okay, so this category is all about hybrid systems. These are really, really great systems because they mix together basically the best qualities of both. So it's hard to go wrong with these. Now, the Simois, I will put up here on the screen. Give me 1 second. So the Simois is really great because, as you're probably seeing down in the picture, it's a hybrid. So you have the lace front, gives you a nice hairline. We love that, right? We love the nice hairline. But then you get this big strip of poly that goes all the way around the sides and back, and then also behind the lace front. So this is a really, really good system for somebody that wants the best of both worlds. Now, the hair density on that is coming in at about 100%. Okay, so it's a little bit thicker, which is good. As bleach, which is great. And it's very durable, right? You know, you're probably looking at maybe 3 units a year needing with this right here, instead of, you know, something that you want the absolute best performance out of. It's a little bit more fragile. So this can be a really, really great system for you. The fact that it's breathable makes it great for people that are doing a lot of work, people that are doing a lot of exercise, all that kind of stuff. And it works for most hairstyles, which is very nice. Now, the next one that we talked about in this category is the Aries. So the Aries is a classic. A lot of people love the Aries, and I will bring it up on the screen here for you. Let's see where the Aries is. Well, I'm going to pull up the Zeo Aries on the screen. So the Zeo Aries is another hybrid unit, but this one's different. So it is completely lace except for the sides and back. The area towards the back of the system and the sides, that's the poly. The rest of it is actually a lace. So what does that mean? It means that you're going to get incredible breathability all throughout the front and through the middle. And then in the back, you have the poly, which makes it much easier. Why does it make it much easier? It makes it much easier because when you are doing a lot of sweating, you are going to sweat from your hairline. You are going to sweat from everywhere in your scalp. But a lot of times, the area where when you are going to do your adhesive again, when you're going to redo your system, a lot of times the area that is basically the hardest to clean is actually back here. And the reason for that is because so much sweat and heat gets built up here that it can dissolve the liquid or the tape. And if that happens, it is very, very difficult to get out of lace. This right here gives you that extra protection in the back, so that way you don't have that happen. Because on poly, it's very easy to clean. It's like, you know, it's plastic and you just clean it on off, right? It's very easy to clean. Whereas the lace, keep in mind, it's a mesh, you know, and the adhesive can get up into the mesh and up into the hair. So this type of system is really, really great for somebody that's active, because in the area where you're going to sweat the most, you actually have the poly. But then you get all the advantages of breathability, of a good hairline at the front and through the middle. So I rest my case on that one. The next is the Light Cruis. The Light Cruis is one of our systems that is in the light lineup. And what that means is, just like the Mars has 80% density. So it's a little bit lighter. So something like this right here that you see up top. Now, the Light Cruis is an amazing system because just like these other systems, you have poly all the way around. That's usually where you attach your tape or your liquid, all the way around. So it makes it extremely, extremely easy for you to clean, for you to manage, while also getting all the breathability of the French lace in the center of the unit. It's really an incredible, like having these hybrids is a lifesaver for somebody that does a lot of athletics and doesn't want to get into the complexity of just wearing a straight lace system. So with that, it as 80% at the hairline for density, and then it graduates back into 85%. The first basically 0.75 inches is 80%, and then it graduates back down to 85%. On top of that, though, the poly perimeter is 1 inch wide around the entire thing, and it can be trimmed a little bit, but you want to be careful with these to not cut too much of the poly or to cut it all away. It can affect the structure, and just generally, if you're going to cut away all of the hybrid elements of it, might as well just go with the regular lace, right? But because it's very breathable, it's lighter density, it makes it comfortable for hot weather, for active life, all that kind of stuff. So that is another really, really great system. Mark, I see you in the comments on this platform right here, so I'm going to answer your question in a second, so just bear with me. The last one that can be really good is the Tyler. The Tyler is a mix of actually 3 things, so it's a hybrid with 3 things. It's got lace at the front, silk at the top, and poly around the sides and back. And the Tyler is really good. I would say the Tyler is good for somebody that wants really, really good scalp appearance throughout their entire hair. They want the breathability at the front with the hairline, and then they want the ease at the back with the poly. If you just want breathability, you might want to go with a different one, but this can be a really good middle of the road that has, which if you guys don't know what that means, I'll explain it to you. But it has bleach knots at the front. So once again, you're in really, really good shape with it. Okay. Now for these units, and then I'm going to get to your question, Mark. For these units, what do we recommend? So if you're an active or sporty person, what do we recommend as the options? Let's go into it. So pardon this right here. I'm just going to bring up my computer. Better doing it like this, I feel like, than having you guys exposed to the shakiness. So we have 4. We have this Ultra Hold tape, which we've talked about before. Ultra Hold is probably the best tape when it comes to longevity. And if you are somebody that sweats a lot, Ultra Hold really can't. So that's a roll of tape. It's 3 yards. It's a great tape. It's what I use. This right here is another version of the Ultra Hold tape. This is actually the front CC contour tapes. So basically, they're cut in the shape of your front hairline, so that way you don't have to do all of this cutting and manual stuff. You can just simply take off the back and get them ready to go. These are very, very similar right here. These are Ultra Hold minis, so they're a little smaller, but they have that contour towards them, so really well with a CC unit, but they're still Ultra Hold. And then if you are a little bit, privy to the, if you do like the liquids, we have the Ultra Hold liquid. And this right here is probably the best liquid to use if you are somebody that is athletic, somebody that does sweat a lot. It's what I would recommend for you, right? So in short, and then I'm going to answer your question, Mark, on our platform. If you're somebody that's sporty and active, a Samoas, an Aries, a light Cruis, Tyler could all be really great options for you, but you want to pair that with one of the strongest tapes or liquids, and that is Ultra Hold all the way. Okay. So Mark asked, for the lace base, which kind of adhesive is better? So, there's 2 schools of thoughts with that. A lot of people like having liquid with a lace because of the fact that they say that the tape actually pulls out some of the hair. I don't find that to be true. And also with liquid, a lot of people think that it's a slightly better hairline, which it is slightly better. You're talking about the difference between maybe less than a millimeter, probably a fraction of a millimeter of tape. The thickness of it, it's very, very thin, probably thinner than a system, versus the completely negligible thickness of a small light layer of glue, right? So this is the margins that we're talking about and the difference. I did a consult earlier today, And I described it as you're probably maybe getting like 3% difference in your hairline. So the liquid can be hard to maintain because if it does, one, you can't peel it off nice and easy. With the tape, you can. So people say with tape bases or with lace bases not to use tape because they're afraid of, pulling the hair out. That only happens if the tape is very stuck to the lace and you're trying to rip it off. The way that you can actually completely get around that issue is by there's many different ways to do this. You can use C22 to actually break down the bond in between the lace and the tape. You can spray it through the system. So that's one option. Or you can even just use hot water. Run the tape in the system under hot water. The heat itself will actually break down the bond. It'll separate it. And then you are back in shape. So, there, in my opinion, with a lace base, I would actually go with tape, right? So that's just my honest opinion on that one right there. Okay. So guys, any questions? I'm going to take a quick little drink of water because I've been talking for 30 minutes straight. Any questions on these systems, on these mixes of types of systems, types of tapes and liquids for different types of life? We've gone through the office and appearance kind of person, wants a low maintenance but still really looks good. Talks about active and sporty. We're going to talk about one other type of person. But any questions? Anything that's popping up for you guys? By the way, I know we got a lot of viewers right now. Come on, guys. Engage with me. Tell me where you are. Tell me what your hopes. Tell me what your dreams are. Besides getting hair again. We know that. That's why you're here, right? Okay, cool. Well, while some people are typing questions, I encourage you to do so. Or if you feel like you can't do it publicly, book a consult with me on thevivid.com. It's $15 or $20 for 15 minutes, but we give you that money back for your system. So it's basically free. But you get to talk with me about your situation, go over any of the stuff that you need to go over. So why not? Why not, right? What we are talking about, if you're just joining, because I see a lot of people are starting to join now, is right now on the website. It's not about a sale, but we're focusing on instructing you guys a little bit about what is the right types of base and adhesive combinations for different styles of life. And we've talked about so far somebody that's more kind of like an office worker, doesn't really do a lot of fitness, basically just a low maintenance lifestyle, but still looks really, really good. We've talked about active and sporty people where the priority is obviously breathability and, making sure that they're not dying from overheating when they're working out or, playing sports or stuff like that. And then the last group of people that we're going to talk about is people with sensitive skin. I'm going to describe, some systems and some adhesives and why we recommend those. And you would be surprised. There's a lot of people in this category, right, that have sensitive skin. I get consults all the time, people talking about maybe potentially getting like some redness in their scalp and stuff like that. And it's just like, yeah, you might have some sensitive skin. We just need to try some different products, but you're good to go. It's a very simple problem to solve. So all of these systems, all of this stuff, guys, is all 15% off, by the way, right now. That sale ends February 4th. So I do recommend that you take advantage of it. Tonight would be the best. And if you do during the live stream, we add in a sleep mask for free. They are very cozy. They're very comfortable. I have one. And all your discount code it's only available during the live stream, but it's live gift, capital L, capital G, live gift. Okay. So this last group of people, who are the people with sensitive skin? What is that group? So those are the people, right, that might have some skin issues, that might have some particularly scalp issues, and they tend to react to things a lot. Now, with hair systems, the things that you could potentially like kind of quote unquote react to are really primarily like the taper adhesive. that's going to be in contact with your skin. And the other thing is somebody might have not a reaction, but bacteria. Their skin might be sensitive to bacteria buildup. So we'll talk about kind of the first thing, the bacteria buildup. And the really cool thing is, about a year ago, Levivid started using this technology called Zeomic. Zeomic is basically a technology that is antimicrobial through basically a silver molecule. It's a silver coating that's put across the base of the system. You can't see it, but there is a silver-based molecule that's put on there, and it's very antimicrobial. It's been proven. There's research out there. You can go Google it. You can type in Zeomic, and you'll see all of that stuff in there. So we have a line of systems called the Zeo line. They're basically replicas of all of the systems, but then they're applied with the Zeomic technology. So for these people, I would recommend those systems. Those systems being the Zeo Mirage, the Zeo Helios, the Zeo Aries, and the Zeo Cruis. So before we go into the tapes and the liquids and adhesive, we'll talk a little bit about systems and why I'd recommend each of those. So the Zeo Mirage. The Mirage is a great unit. We talked about it a little bit earlier, right? These are great units because they are poly, so they're very easy to manage. They have pretty good hairlines, very good hairlines to them, because they have a V-loop front. This is the only one, the Zeo lineup, that is all poly. Now, that's really important if you have a sensitive scalp and you want to go all poly. Because, why? Because if it's all poly, it's much easier for basically your sweat to get trapped in there. And all of our sweat, everything on our skin, right, it has bacteria in it. It has things that we're sweating out. So if we don't let that basically evaporate and kind of get removed, it can kind of build up on our scalp. If you think about, for example, just, to be kind of gross, right? I do CrossFit every single day. If I'm using a all skin system and, the sweat has nowhere to go, it's going to basically dry on my scalp. But if I do that every single day for a week, for 2 weeks, right? It's going to start to potentially, I don't know, maybe build a little bit of a bacterial colony. But the way that I've seen it actually is when I'll take off my system after about 10 days of, sweating a lot. These are with the, non-Zeo systems. The tape itself will have a slightly different color to it. Instead of being clear, it'll start to go a little bit opaque, like it's picking up bacteria, right? It's picking up something and it's changing the color of the tape. When I've used all of these Zeo systems, I've done the same thing. It doesn't actually pick up any color, which is really cool. It basically stays clear, which I think is pretty awesome, because I think that means that there's a lot less bacteria growing. And if you look on the website at the Zeo series, you'll see that there's you can do the research on Zeomic technology, but also you'll see that actually tests were done about the bacterial growth with the Zeomic technology exposure and without, and it's significantly different. So anyways, the Zeo Mirage is a great unit. It's all poly. Very important for somebody with sensitive skin if they need to go all poly. The next one is the Zeo Helios. So the Zeo Helios, it's the same thing as the Helios, but we put in the Zeomic technology. So what is it? It is a Swiss lace base with 90% density hair, Indian Remy hair. So all the cuticles are going in the same direction. Very great system. And the Zeomic technology just made it a little bit better. This is really great for somebody with sensitive skin because it's breathable. It's breathable, but it also has that antimicrobial technology that is there as well. So very, very important, and it's a very good system. The next one that you have access to is the Zeo Aries. The Zeo Aries, we already talked about the Aries, right? So what it is it has lace in the front through the middle, but in the back, It has sorry, I'm pulling it up on the screen. There we go. It has the plastic or the poly. So that way, if you do sweat a lot in the back area, which we talked about a little bit earlier, you're going to do most of your sweating back here. It's going to break down the adhesive the most. It's very easy to clean up. So you have that hybrid, basically ease of life with that right there. So this is a really, really great system for somebody that's sensitive skin and an athlete, but also wants to keep things on the down low, keep it very chill. Great system for you, the Zeo Aries. And then the Zeo Cruis. So the Zeo Cruis is another hybrid system, but just a different style one that I'm bringing up on the screen here. It has a little bit more hair at 115, so some people like that. And the Zeo Cruis is a hybrid because in the center it has lace, and on the outside it has this big strip of 2 inches of poly. And that's really great because once again, it makes it very easy to put tape and liquid adhesive on and off of it. You don't have to worry about making a mess. It just cleans up like a charm. And then the Zeomic technology, just like it is on all of it, keeps it very, very antimicrobial. So this stuff, very good. All 4 of those systems are amazing. I'm curious before we kind of move on. Which of those 3 categories of people that we've talked about do you think you are? Are you the sensitive skin category? Are you the active and sporty category? Or are you the office and appearance focused? Let me know. Let us know. I personally classify myself under the active and sporty genre of people. That's what my main concern is that it's easy and that I'm going to feel comfortable while doing athletic things, that it's breathable. Those are my main priorities. So going into the adhesives that are really, really good for sensitive skin, these are going to be different than the ones that we've seen before, because these right here, they're really designed to be a lot more sensitive is the word. So we're going to go into the computer for these right here. So the first one that we got right here is this Walker Tape Great White. So this right here is a soft bond. It's water-based, very nice, and it's not harsh whatsoever. So I recommend this is a really, really great liquid adhesive. But keep in mind, it's probably not going to last as long as something like a Ultra Hold. It's just not. But you're still going to get pretty good results out of it. So that could be a really great tape for you to use if you have sensitive skin. The next, this is an even gentler. This is a gentler tape. It's called 1522 Clear. I'll bring it up on my screen here. 1 second. So this right here is the 1522 Clear. That's what it looks like. And you can find it on the website. So as you can see, this is meant for more of somebody that wants to do daily wear, 1 to 7 days. And that is a significant amount of difference than, 4 or 5 weeks, right? We're talking maybe 25% of the strength, but very, very sensitive on the skin. And then if you're looking for something that's a good intermediate, you might want to go with something like Sensitac, which I'll show you what the name looks like. So that way it registers in your brain. Sensitac. This is really great because it's an intermediate, right? So it gives you about maybe 1 to 2 weeks worth of support as opposed to the 1 to 7 days, which that's a big difference, right? You're getting at least double the amount of hold, if not more, with that right there. So these 3 tapes are very gentle. The 2 tapes and the liquid adhesive, they're very, very gentle and highly recommended to somebody that's dealing with some skin sensitivity issues. And make no doubt about it, right? Skin sensitivity issues are a big deal. They're a big, big deal. If you don't watch out, if you don't take care of yourself and you do have sensitive skin and you do not take care of this stuff, it can come back and get you. It can bite you in the butt. You know what I mean? And you want to jump in front of these problems before you have the problems. Trust me, with that one. You really do. So, love to hear some feedback from you guys. I'd love to hear some questions. Love to, know what's on your brain after we're covering all of these things right here. Because, we've gone through a lot of systems and a lot of glues, a lot of adhesives. And, this information is valuable, but it's only more valuable if we make it applicable. The value is in the application, just like the taper adhesive, right? Now, the value is in the application of the knowledge. So now is the time, right, to be asking questions about your situation, what you have doubts on, what you need clarity on. So that way we can make sure that you get all the information you need and that you are ready to rock and roll. Whether you have a system and you're having some problems, you're thinking about getting a system and you want to avoid the problems, this is the place. This is a place to start the conversation. All right. So what do we got for questions? Any questions whatsoever? If not, I will carry on with some more stuff. Actually, what we can do is we can look at potentially some hairstyles for head shapes. I think that would be a really good thing to help you guys out, because a lot of men don't know this stuff. And if you don't have like the right types of haircuts for your face shape, it can just look wrong. Okay. So this is a really cool guide that I'm going to walk us through here. And I encourage you to self-identify with what type of face shape you are. Okay. So we're going to come into the computer. Let me get this thing all situated. All right. So the first type of person that we're going to be talking about right here is somebody that has an oval face shape. Now, the defining feature, just to read it out here, of an oval face shape is the absence of sharp angles or corners near the forehead, cheeks, or chin. So overall, it has a very oval type shape, no sharp, jagged lines, and it's also not circular. So because there is a lot of symmetry and balance, people with an oval shape can get away with a lot of looks. But what you're not going to want to do is have fringes, which means your hair down, bangs with your hair down that cover your forehead, because it's going to make your head appear more round, more circular. So that's not going to be ideal for you. What will look good for you, you can do facial hair, of course. Beards are good. But clean shaven also looks good because of the contours of the jawline that you're going to have. The haircut that I would recommend for us is something that is, for a hair system now adapted, is maybe something. Now, this right here is a very stylized version of it, but something like this taper fade with a quiff, but a much, much more less dramatic version of this. So let me see if I can find a taper fade with quiff on top. Let's see if we can find some stuff. So something like this right here could be very nice with a hair system. Very, very nice. It's simple. It's relaxed. I would encourage you to stay away from things like this with way too much hair. I would encourage you to stay away from that. Okay. So that would be good for somebody with an oval. For somebody that has a round face, the way you identify that you have a round face is that they're equal in length and width. So length, width are somewhat equal, and the jawline has no sharp corners or defining lines. So with this right here, spiky hair can work, bald fade with a slick back, or a high skin fade with a pompadour. I'd recommend something more along this line right here. By the way, if you're somebody that does not have much for side hair, or you've completely lost, like you're your temple region, this right here could be a really good option for you to not have to deal with, diffuse thinning, having no temples. Just shave it off and just rock something like this. Your hair system will go right here. Now, if you got a square face shape, they're angular, they're sharp, they're masculine. These, you really have a lot of things you can do with it, and they work very, very well with a hair system. So you could do something that's just a little bit shorter, right? Almost like a buzz cut. Yeah, that works. But these two over here, like the high fade and the crew cut, are very, very nice. So the high fade with a quiff is basically this right here, what we were just looking at. Now, a crew cut can look a little bit different. A crew cut looks a little bit more like one of these right here. Oh, let me make it bigger for you. So this is a crew cut right here. Very, very simple, very easy to manage. That is a great system or a haircut for a system. I highly recommend it. It's easy to manage. It's easy to go about your life. The next is oblong, right? So oblong means that the faces are longer than they are wide. So what you don't want to do is create more volume on top, right? You want to go with shorter haircuts, so that way it doesn't elongate your head. Now, you can do a lot of things with this right here. I think the side part is probably the easiest, and it is a very, very just like classic male haircut. I'll show you right here, side part, men's haircut, right? So, something like this right here, these are side parts, right? Very different, by the way, based off of their hair texture, but still equally so. Extremely classic, right? Extremely classic. Okay. And then let's see the diamond face shape. I think this is our last one. Oh, we got triangle. So diamond, this right here means basically that you have wide cheekbones and a defined angular chin. Now with this, I would recommend, just because we're running out of time, guys, you go something like this textured crop. You don't have to worry so much with a lot of the blending in, but this would look very, very good. You don't have to worry about hairlines, all that kind of stuff. Now the triangle shape is somebody that has angular features, but a notable jawline being wider than the cheekbone. So this is somebody that like their face actually looks wider at the bottom. And because their forehead is smaller, you are going to want to avoid short fades on the sides, but instead go with something a little bit more thicker on the sides. So that way it adds more weight there. This can look some good with bangs. This can look good with kind of like a textured quiff or a crew cut like we talked about earlier. So these right here are some hairstyles that you can take a look at based off of your face shape and then go from there. Oh, hello. So to answer a couple of the questions I'm seeing right now, will the glue damage my scalp? So I haven't seen any evidence that glue damages scalp, and there's people that have gone from using systems to, back to even getting hair transplants, SMP, all that kind of stuff. No, it doesn't damage it. All of these are, human safe adhesives. They're all like medical grade, right? That you can use on the human body. So there's no issues with that. And then the next question, for the buzz cut style, will the base of the system be available? So if you go with a true buzz cut, then yeah, potentially. What I would recommend is you go longer than a buzz cut. Like not quite a buzz cut, but longer than a buzz cut. There was actually a person that used to make YouTube videos for a long time. His name was Dave's Hair System, I believe it was. And he was somebody that basically rocked pretty much a buzz cut and looked very good. It's a little bit longer. I'll bring you into the computer so that way you can see. Let me zoom in for you. So, this right here, believe it or not, is a hair system up here. And I think that looks pretty dang good. It's a little bit longer than a traditional buzz cut. But I think, man, for a extremely, extremely like low maintenance thing. Just like classic dude look. You can't really beat that, you know? This guy doesn't have to do basically anything, just gets to kind of get like a fade, like a cleanup every once in a while, grow his beard, and he's looking fresh, right? So you can do something like that. I wouldn't recommend that you try to go for like buzz cut. So those are my final thoughts on that. Okay. Guys, we're in the final 5 minutes, so I'm going to leave this for questions. If you have any questions, let me know. I know we've got quite a few viewers across all the different platforms that are watching right now. If I see questions, I'll answer it, but I'll also start to wrap this up. In short, we talked about basically 3 types of individuals tonight. You have your kind of office worker that wants, the appearance to be good, wants to look good, and wants it to be very easy, low maintenance kind of stuff. We've got you covered. Go to the LaVivid website, look at the air systems and the tape and liquid combinations. Very good mixes there. If you're an active person like me, right, and you need breathability, you need this to work really, really well with being more athletic and a lot of sweating and stuff, we've got you covered. Go on the website. You'll see all of those mixes of hair systems with tapes. We got you covered. If you're somebody that has sensitive skin, and also you need to make sure that you're not having any type of skin conditions, we got you covered. We'll show you the hair systems. The Zeomic ones are particularly good, and also very, very gentle tapes, which will make sure you don't have, issues with them. So we got you covered. All of those systems, all of those combinations are all 15% off right now. So you want to take advantage of that. You also, keep in mind those 15% off will end on February 4th. So that's tonight is February 2nd, basically another day. But I encourage you to actually order something now. And also we give you a free sleep mask, a silk sleep mask. All you need to do is you make an order. It's only available really during this live stream, maybe a couple minutes after. If you use the discount code LIVEGIFT, capital L, capital G, LIVEGIFT, that will also give you the silk mask for free on top of that 15% off of everything else. So I definitely recommend that you take advantage of that. Okay. With that being said, we will be checking in with you guys in about 2 weeks, and we'll have another topic. We'll have another thing to talk about. But if you guys have any suggestions, if there's things that you want to know about, things that are, tickling your curiosity, we love to hear about it. Leave it in the comments on Instagram. Leave it on the comments on YouTube. Send LaVivid a email to support saying like you'd like to see something in specific during the live streams, whether maybe it's a live installation or you'd like me to see me while I'm actually getting my hair cut by a barber, getting it cut in for the first time. We are totally open to all those ideas. We love your feedback. We love your participation. And, we'll see you in about 2 weeks. All right, guys. I hope you have an amazing night, and we will talk soon. Take care.